Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Carrier, the District Governor-elect from the 7850, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this third session, this third evening together in Northeast Pets 2021. And this evening, we're considering the theme, Rising to the Challenge of Public Image. To help us understand just how critically important this is in our lives as Rotarians and within the life of our clubs, we are so glad to have Evan Burrell with us as our keynote speaker tonight. But before we get to Evan and all the insights he will share with us, I want to invite two of my district governor-elect colleagues, Terry Curran from District 7930 and Joanne Alfieri from District 7890, to introduce the members of their respective district governor tracks. Terry, let's begin with you.
Thank you, Mike. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the district governor track from District 7930, which includes Greater Boston, Greater Salem, New Hampshire, no, John, you can never have them, the Merrimack Valley, the North Shore, and Northeastern Massachusetts. Currently serving as our district governor from the Hamilton-Wenham Rotary Club is Betsy Manzelli. Betsy has spent most of her Rotary career as part of the Youth Exchange team, serving as its chair for several years. Serving as our district governor nominee is Alexander Falk from the Marblehead Rotary Club and the master of technology behind this entire NEPETS production. Alexander serves as the co-chair of our district membership committee and is active on the district public image and DEI committees. Also, for the past 2 years, he's been the district chair of the Youth Exchange program. Lori Karras is our district governor nominee designate from the Peabody Rotary Club and will serve in 2023-24. Outside of Rotary, she's a volunteer and on the board of the American Red Cross in the Northeast. As introduced, I'm your district governor-elect, Terry Curran, from the Parkway Rotary Club of West Roxbury, Rosendale, and Jamaica Plain. Not only do I have the longest name, but also the longest club name among my classmates. I've been serving alongside Alexander on the district membership, public image, and DEI committees this year. I'd like to share with you my Rotary moment. It came several years ago when I was on a Rotoclass trip to Cebu in the Philippines at the suggestion of PDG Bob Wood. Somehow he knew that a Rotarian who never gets up before 10 a.m. would relish getting up at 5:30 a.m. to set off to the hospital. He was correct. I was late a day on this mission to the hospital. I ended up as an aide in the recovery room with two nurses who, one, had never heard a true Boston accent before and didn't have the touch with babies who came in after their surgeries. I immediately became the baby whisperer, coddling and bouncing the infants just out of surgery. To see the good we do in the world was amazing and showed me the true meaning of service above self. I look forward to taking the reins of District 7930 in 110 days. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, Terry, obviously you have some great colleagues to work with there in your district. And now it's my pleasure to present another changemaker governor-elect, Joanne Alfieri from District 7890, who will introduce her governor track. Joanne.
Thanks, Mike. I'm excited to tell you about my district. We are District 7890, and we are located in northern Connecticut and western Massachusetts, up into the beautiful Berkshire Mountains. We are made up of 56 Rotary clubs. We have a total of 34 district grants from 34 Rotary clubs in progress. These grants cover basic literacy, feeding the hungry, disease prevention and treatment, and community development. Our district is a recipient of the Rotary Foundation's COVID-19 disaster relief funding. A $19,500 grant was approved by the Rotary Foundation to provide a ventilator and the associated accessories and supplies to Cooley Dickinson Community Hospital in Northampton, Massachusetts. Our district also donated an additional $40,000 back to our 56 clubs to help with community needs arising from the COVID pandemic. Our district also took part in the Rotary Million Mask Challenge and distributed over 300,000 masks to our first responders, nursing homes, and schools in the fight against COVID-19. A $30,000 Dunn Endowed Scholarship was awarded to a student to pursue PhD level of study research at Cambridge University in England in the field of genetic research associated with cancer. We are involved in 21 global humanitarian grants in countries covering Guatemala, Russia, Nepal, India, Uganda, Philippines, Ecuador, and Haiti. We work here at home in the area of human trafficking and to further community awareness around the opioid crisis. We are district proud. We are District 7890. We are the only district in the world where the numbers are sequential. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, thank you, Joanne. It sounds like so many wonderful things are happening in your district for sure. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you Randall Barclay, the district governor nominee from District 7870, who's going to present this evening's Rotary Foundation moment. Randall.
Thank you, Michael. My Rotary Foundation question is, what is a project fair? A project fair is a conference where Rotarians with ideas for humanitarian projects, let's call them the hosts, meet with Rotarians who are looking to invest in international projects, the international sponsors. There are typically 8 project fairs annually, 4 in South America, 2 in Africa, and 1 each in the Middle East and Europe. This last year, many of the fairs went virtual, and we anticipate many will be hybrid during the coming year. So who can attend? Any club representative or Rotary member who is interested in supporting an international service project can attend a project fair. So what's involved? So host clubs present their projects to potential international sponsors, but there's often a global grant seminar so clubs can get qualified to do global grants. Additionally, the host organizing committee usually arranges for Rotarians to visit and participate in local service projects. And often there's a polio immunization day. One of my most moving experiences as a Rotarian was walking door to door with Rotaractors at the Benin West African Project Fair, giving polio vaccinations to children. International visitors typically visit their embassy and other NGOs at the beginning of the trip. In my case, the American ambassador gave us a 1.5-hour briefing and told us how important Rotary's work was in eradicating polio and promoting peace and understanding between nations. The host organizing committee will also make sure that you meet with local Rotarians, either at their homes or at their clubs. It's a place to make lifelong friends and contacts. Now, there's several project fairs scheduled, and many of them will be virtual or hybrid. I'm planning to attend the 16th annual West African Project Fair in Accra, Ghana, later this year, either virtually or in person. So to find out more about project fairs, go to myrotary.org and look up project fairs. So let's rise to the challenge and serve to change lives through international service. Thank you. And back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Randall. From what you've just shared with us, when Rotarians get together to create projects, we are some of the most inventive and creative people you will ever hope to meet. Now, 2 groups of Rotarians let their creative juices flow by producing engaging musical adaptations of our 4-way test. Let's watch.
Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
In the beginning of
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned. When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I don't know if you were up, moving around, whether you were in your seat, shaking. Did any of that look like your Rotary Club in the morning? Mine meets at 7 and we sing. Now we're challenged to do it, bring it to whole new heights. So the fun is going to continue. And before planning this segment on public image, my exposure to Evan Burrell was through Facebook posts that would kind of feed into my phone in the early morning hours as I was having coffee. But wanting to know more about him, I went to YouTube and I could immediately understand why we wanted Evan to be here with us tonight. Evan is a digital media consultant in the nonprofit community volunteer sector. And as such, he has expanded his skills to educating local professionals, business, community groups across Australia and the world to focus on the practical use of social media and how to develop it to brand and market their stories. Evan is an accomplished public speaker, MC, trainer, social media advocate, and a hard-working Rotarian, entering the world of Rotary as a Rotaractor in 1999, and then serving as a president of his own Rotary Club later in Sydney. You may recognize Evan best as a service-minded superhero. You see, for Evan, it's easy to be a Rotary hero because as he sees it, all Rotarians are superheroes, and we all need to promote the heroic acts we do in the community and around the world. In whatever way, Evan is proving that Rotary isn't all business. His message is let's have fun in Rotary. And with that message, he's engaged in telling Rotary's digital story. Please join with me in welcoming Evan Burrell, if you are there. Evan.
Hey, g'day.
Hey.
How are you all doing?
All right.
I am talking to you from the future. It's Sunday morning here. I didn't require a DeLorean or 1.21 gigawatts to speak to you from the future, but I am here and I'm looking forward to talking all things about public image. And I wanted to set the tone right off the bat here, just to sort of before I start, and I hope just about to share my screen. But I know if you've ever wanted to see Paul Harris sing, this is your perfect opportunity to be able to do that. So I'm going to quickly share this and hopefully you'll get a kick out of it. Your life is now richer for it, for having to see Paul Harris sing his sing that song. So anyway, as you can tell, I take I'm very serious about Rotary, but I can have a little bit of fun on the way, and I think Paul Harris wouldn't mind. So let's get into to my presentation, what you've got me here for. So we're talking, I'm going to talk to you today about how sort of telling the Rotary story. So I'm going to weave in segments about the Rotary branding and what we do, social media, campaigns, and all that sort of thing. So let's get started. There we go. So the first thing I want to start talking about is perceptions. The perceptions of who we are as Rotarians and what the sort of public see us or what they might think about us first. So the first perception is, the old guys from the Muppet Show, that we're, a collection of old guys. And I'm sure you recognize these two guys, of course, they're your past district governors, aren't they? And so the next perception is out there is that we all meet here, and you do know you're a traditional Rotary club if this is the main entrance to where you meet. Okay, so they think we meet at the Rotary Club at Jurassic Park. The next perception is that we're a bit of a secret society, and the Freemasons and all that. And to be honest, this perception isn't actually as prevalent as what the others are, because most people haven't even heard of the Freemasons anymore. I suppose that's probably good because it's a secret. But yeah, sometimes they think Rotary with all the handshakes and the other, the nods and the winks and all the other different credos and things that go on. The next perception is that we as an organization are particularly obsessed with food and predominantly chicken. I've had chicken served to me in 1,000 different ways in my 22 years in Rotary. So we love chicken. We love chicken in this organization. The next is perception is that we're obsessed with speakers. We've got to have speakers at all our meetings or other things like that. I mean, the irony is I'm speaking to you today, of course, but I'm sure we've all had our fair share of speakers who've we're never going to get an hour back of our time, but hopefully that doesn't happen for you today. And then lastly, our perception is that we are just an organization that kind of robs Peter to pay Paul. We just are funneling money through us to give to others, and we've dominated the market in big check presentations. When I did this Google search on this image, the big check, in the Google image search, it was all Rotary clubs. So we have cornered that market. So perhaps it's a new way for us to think about how we go forward. And so for us to sort of cut through the chatter, we've got to make a bold statement about Rotary. We've got to make that bold statement. And you as presidents particularly need to make these bold statements about your club and who you are as the incoming club president and DG too, and to sort of put that out there into the public consciousness so that people understand what Rotary is and who you are. So you've got to make a bold statement. Now, some of you may have seen my resplendent Rotary suit in person, some haven't, but you've got to be passionate, and people respond to your love and passion for Rotary. So don't be afraid to show it. Don't be afraid to show your passion for it, and it's very easy to do. It could be a case of wearing your lapel pins, or wearing a button, or having if you can see my screen or see me, you can have your bumper sticker on the car, proud to be a Rotarian, or, wear a Rotary t-shirt like I'm wearing today, is it the truth? Or my other more controversial, give polio the finger. And wear these shirts out there in public, or your pins and things, because it will lead to conversations. And particularly through the COVID crisis that we're still going through, I wore my Rotary shirt just as a shirt to go down to the store, and somebody come up to me and said, "Oh, look, my dad was in Rotary," and then we sort of had a great little conversation. So wearing the apparel and wearing showing your pride and getting out there, it's a great conversation starter. So don't be afraid to show Rotary rather than just on the day that you're having your meeting. Now, what that leads to is that we're telling Rotary's story. And that's the important thing. This is what leads to interest and information and membership, is that we're telling Rotary's story. See, stories create action. You tell a good story, you'll get the reaction and action from that. And we as Rotarians are people of action. And so with the best way to how we sort of start telling our stories is that we've got to get into the campaign mode, get our mind into campaign mode. You know, essentially kind of like these politicians do to try and get elected, you know, or the marketing firms are putting out a new product. You know, they get into that marketing campaign mode. So think about that for your club. Market your club, get into that campaign. And I'm going to show you an example of something that I've come up with, and I'm going to be launching, well, I did it a few years ago, but I'll be relaunching again, and I'll be utilizing some tools that clubs can utilize. And that is the Be the Good campaign. Some of you may have seen that before. I created this about 5 or so years ago. But yeah, believe there is good in the world, be the good. And that's sort of something that I'm running with through social media. And I've got a website ready to launch with some downloadable graphics and things that clubs can use to modify. But basically, it's that be the good. And that's the question that you're asking potential new members. Do you want to be the good? Yes, of course I do. Well, that's great. Here, why don't you get involved with our local Rotary Club? And so this idea has taken flight. And you know, we've had t-shirts made, and you've got the big bonnet on your car, be the good, as well as this idea which kind of spurred me to reintroduce this campaign. So I was reached out to a club by a collection of clubs there who had some advertising space on a large billboard near one of their main highways. And so, you know, they put it up there, be the good. And so people will see that as they drive by. They'll see the very large Rotary wheel, and they'll see, you know, the clubs that are represented there. So if you've got the ability to be able to do something like this, then I believe the Be the Good campaign will work very well for your cluster clubs or your districts as well. So it's a great way to, you know, put Rotary out there. So it's a campaign. And here's some other graphics that I'm kind of toying with to launch. The graffiti style one's a bit more, you know, youth focused, but it you know, it makes people look at it. You know, it's got a good punch about it. And the other campaign that I'm certainly more recognised for is a Rotary Hero. And I honestly believe that we as Rotarians are superheroes. You know, a hero is an ordinary person doing things in an extraordinary way. And honestly, I feel that's who we are as Rotarians. You know, we are all Rotary heroes. We are all Rotary heroes. And the reason for this whole idea about the Rotary heroes is a few years ago at the time, all those Marvel movies were coming out, Captain America, Iron Man, Batman movies, always Superman. And so in the public consciousness, people have an understanding of what a superhero is, what it's all about, read the comic books and those sorts of things. And I kind of got to thinking that, you know, as Rotarians, we kind of hide behind our secret identity, and we kind of, you know, get out there in the community when things happen. You know, we strip off the clothes and put on our Rotary shirts, and off we go to help save the world, sort of thing. So I feel we are kind of Rotary superheroes. Now, of course, we're not rescuing cats out of trees or lifting cars up. Well, actually, if you can rescue cats out of trees, if that is a fundraising idea that your club has, and you can make it work, then I think, hey, you know, all the power to you, fellas and ladies, get up those trees and start rescuing those cats. But look, we don't rescue, you know, we don't lift cars above our heads, and we don't work for the Daily Metropolitan newspaper, but, you know, together we're ending polio. We're transforming people's lives, you know, and we transform the lives of the communities in who we serve. We connect with people, and we connect with each other. We connect with our community. We connect with our international community. We inspire people, and it's our inspiration is what's kept us going for 116 years here in Rotary. You know, we inspire people to do more, to give back. You know, we inspire the young people who we help through all our various programs and all our things that we do. We are an inspirational organization. We also are empowering, and we give people the opportunities to be empowered themselves through the various programs that we do. Like, for example, RILA, giving young people the opportunity for leadership development. So to me, that's kind of superheroic. And, you know, maybe not so superheroic, but we have fun. We have fun. And I think that's the main crux of what I'm talking about and who I am as a person and how I share my Rotary story, is that we're having fun. And you'll see that that's me jumping there in front of the Rotary headquarters. Someone from the maintenance division there at RI come up to me and said, look, you can't even stop jumping because you're rocking the foundations. So, you know, that was my first and only jump. So, you know, I'm known as the Rotary superhero. So I'm a Rotarian. What's your superpower? And that's what the sort of marketing messages I've been putting out to potential members and with the community. You know, and I had little Rotary superhero pins made and all sorts of other things. So I'm a Rotarian. What's your superpower? And here, you know, is Rotary Captain American, my friend, I think he's a DG or PDG, Noel Jackson. And he, from a great public image idea, he, for his district in 6400, The Adventures of Captain Rotary. So he made a comic book about the district and about what the projects are doing. And he's got a, you know, and then this is a fantastic public image campaign. Now, of course, you know, it can't work for everybody, but good, you know, giving kudos to this guy for giving it a go anyway. And now, I talk all about stories, talk all about campaigns with people of action, be the good, heroes, all the rest of it. So how do we get this message out there? Well, social media. Social media is the one that works well for me, and I think will work well for Rotarians. Because, you know, 1 billion people are using TikTok each month, 900 million on our Instagram each month, 2 billion people are on Facebook each month. This is where the conversation is happening. This is where it is. People aren't relying on the mainstream news or newspapers, or particularly for Rotarians, to get our community stories out there. A lot of, particularly in Australia, not many local newspapers are published anymore. So we are reliant in some respect on Facebook and others to get our message, and we control that message. So we control that story. So this is where the conversation is happening. This is where we, as clubs and as presidents, should start putting our messaging out there. But social media, it's not just about the like. You know, it's just not how many thumbs up and how many likes your post get. It's about creating a positive story about who you are as an individual and your Rotary club. And so people ask me all the time, you know, what is Rotary? What does Rotary do? You know, I don't have the 5-minute elevator pitch, you know, and I don't think anybody will want to be caught in an elevator with me. But people ask me, what does Rotary do? I simply say, we help people. It's what we do. We help people. It's what we do. And it's creating that conversation, which you can then lead on to talk about what your club does and share your personal story. Social media is also a visual medium. And so the imagery that you share is incredibly important to capture people's eyes and capture that attention and capture that engagement. So, you know, inspiring images, they get actions. Where will Rotary take you? That long road, the long road to Rotary. You know, where will Rotary take you? We are all on that kind of Rotary journey. You know, we all might get off at different sections or go to different places, but we're all on that Rotary journey. And it's kind of creating that journey aspect is a way to encourage more members into our clubs by giving people those opportunities and talking about those opportunities where they can go on their own journey. And doing that through social media with imagery is a great introduction to that. So tell a great visual story, whether you're ending polio with John Germ, or you're engaging with youth exchange students, or you're about to kiss a fish. So this is one of my favorite images. This is from the Rotary Club of Woolgoolga here in Australia, in New South Wales, in the state of New South Wales. And George at the front and my friend John Arkin at the back. In Woolgoolga each year, there's a pelagic spearfishing competition. So champion spearfishers will descend upon the little town of Woolgoolga, and they'll go out and catch and spearfish the fish. And the fish that gets caught gets donated to the Rotary Club, who then auction it off. And they make quite a tidy profit. But what caught my eye is, why is there a 12-foot Indian man kissing a fish, and what's a Rotarian holding a fish above his head? And so it's that kind of imagery that's unusual and not normally seen in Rotary clubs that caught my eye and wanted me to tell their story. And it's a great thing for you to think about on what you present and on how you present your image of your club out there in the community. What's something that you can do that's a little bit different, you know? hey, if you're a better singer than Paul Harris, then hey, put something like that out on social media. So I'll quickly talk about what we should be seeing on social media from Rotary, from your clubs. So the happy people, different photo angles, lots of light smiles. You can edit the pictures if you can. Take more than just one photograph. A lot of people just take with their phone or iPhone one photograph and that's it. Take a few photographs. Edit the pictures if you can. Steer clear of the cliches like the big checks and all that other kind of thing, and do what the Rotary Club of Woolgoolga did: find the hook. And that's a fish joke there. Okay, I know it's late at night there, on Saturday night. Anyway, but look, find the hook. Find what makes your club a little different. So this is some things that, I spoke to a Rotary Club in North Dakota 2 years ago, and I talked about Darth Vader coming to speak along to the club as a bit of a joke. But Brian there, who's looking at Darth Vader, he actually hired a local actor to come along and present as Darth Vader. And it was a great, fun Star Wars themed night. But it was, it was an interesting, and it got in the local news. Funnily enough, the newspaper and the local TV crew came down, and it was, something fun, something different. Or, you're inviting here, we're so, I'll say it, we're so desperate to get presidents into our Rotary clubs. We're now recruiting even the babies to get involved. So, the little kids dinging the bell. But these are the images that capture your attention. There's me jumping out of a shelter box. I'm sure they would love to see me in a ravaged area and me popping out of a box. I don't think so. Or you're ending polio at the bottom of the sea. It's imagery like this which is going to stop people from just scrolling past and want to engage and interact. Or my friend Michael Williams with smiling kids in Ghana, or a Rotarian there at the Southwest Peninsula there in Antarctica. Images like this, they're interesting. Now, let's talk about images that aren't that interesting. And this is something that I do see quite often pop up on Rotary Clubs feeds and districts in particular, meetings. And we see, the backs, the heads of people. And, and I've seen so many photos like this. I really think I could probably go into business, into designing conference room roofs and conference room outlets and different things like that. I'm so experienced to know how the settings go. So let's do what my friend Arnie says. Stop it. Okay, don't do this. Don't do it anymore. Stop it. Let's not put these kind of photos up on social media. And then something else, which particularly through COVID, which is kind of permeated through, again, what appears quite a lot on social media as well. And then initially it was awesome, but now it's kind of getting a little bit cliched, and that's this, the photographs of our Zoom meeting. Now, when I look at something like this, I go, oh gosh, there's something that looks so familiar. I just can't place it. What is it so familiar about this? Oh yeah, that's right. So let's try and think of new ways on how we showcase our club out there and steer clear of the Brady Bunch. The other thing is award presentations. So, okay, my friend Gay, she looks ecstatic to get that award. But if we just think and tweak the image a little bit, it looks a lot better. It's just taking that time to change the angle and showcase something. So think about that. Think about imagery that you would want to see on the front page of a newspaper. That's what you want to put on social media. So the don'ts. Don't, anything out of focus. That image there you can't really see. That was what was posted. Or this image, you can't miss Rotary in action. Well, I kind of have. I have missed it in action. So, people don't want their pictures taken, pictures that make no sense, people not doing anything. Let's steer clear of this kind of stuff. And then with social media, get some assistance. And this is incredibly important. Make sure that you share the load between people who run your Facebook page or other social media channels, your websites. Set up a social media committee and then schedule posts. So for example, I do a lot of my work 2 or 3 days before, and I automatically things go out for me in the morning or the evening. Best times are between 6 and 9 in the morning. And then again at about 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night, people are on their phones, on their computers, they're engaging. So that's the best times for you to schedule posts to go out. But ultimately, what I want to talk to you about is you should be talking about Rotary. Talk about Rotary. What do you talk about? Well, talk about your club's key activities, whether you do car shows or marathons or bike classics, whatever your club does, talk about that. You know, club in the United States here, where you guys are, they have a car that, which of course gets stripped of all its oil and everything else, but they park it out on a lake, and they take you know, it's a raffle or whatever it is, and see when that car's going to sink, and whoever predicts the exact time or whatever it is wins the money and all that. It's a great promotion for Rotary. You know, this fundraiser is guaranteed to sink. Boom, boom. Talk about your club projects. You know, do you have a water project in Guatemala? Do you do shelter box? Do you do something with maternal and child health? Talk about what your club does. You know, talk about your connections that you have and your club has to the local community and the business sector. So in you know, my district, we're connected very close to the surf lifesavers. You know, local guy here is you know, selling paint, and as well as our emergency services, ambulance and state emergency service and fire brigade and police. And, you know, we talk about our connections to our local communities. This is the things that people want to see on social media. Talk about your diverse speakers. Now, I know we're obsessed with speakers, so we might as well talk about them. You know, a couple of weeks ago, the Incredible Hulk, he came and spoke to our club. He talked about anger management. It was very well received. We also made sure that we didn't give him any Rotary chicken either, so he was happy about that. Talk about your club's diverse membership. Your club, you know, we all have a Fozzie Bear or an animal or a Miss Piggy or something in the club, but or a Kermit. But, you know, talk about your club's diverse membership. You know, talk about, give your club members their 15 minutes of fame. So if you have, you know, ask some questions of, say you've got 50 members, well, there's 50 weeks worth of social media posts. So take a photograph of your, don't take a photograph of your member, that sounds a bit horrible. Take a photograph of your club member and ask them some questions. How long have you been in Rotary? What do you get out of it? What do you do? And, you know, just a simple question and answer. Post that photograph and the question and answers on your Facebook page. Tag the person in the photograph or whatever, and you'll never know what kind of conversations that leads to, or people who didn't know that their friend was in Rotary might decide to get involved a bit further. So showcase your club members and show the diversity of it. And this is really important now. Talk about Rotary's areas of focus. Used to be the 6 areas of focus, the 7th area of focus. Now it's just the Rotary areas of focus. So if your club has or does anything, or your district does anything with peace building or conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, maternal and child health, water sanitation and hygiene, basic education and literacy, community economic development, or the new focus, the environment, if your club's that plants trees, you know, these are the sorts of things which we can sort of focus our attention on if you are running out of ideas for things to talk about, to put out there for you on social media. So if we stick to what we do and what we know, this is a great way of introduction Rotary to a new audience, particularly in regards to the environment, for a way for us to be able to, you know, encapsulate our messaging, but also break through to a new audience. So we're not necessarily talking about climate change or any of those other sorts of things, but I don't think anybody would have any issue with our Rotary Club planting more trees, because I think the world needs more trees. Or you might do, you know, you perhaps maybe a lake in your area which is polluted, and your club gets down there and does its best to try and clean the lake and clear the foreshore of the lake full of rubbish and trash and that sort of thing. Again, that's another kind of great project for your club to work on. That's something good to put out there, so that, you know, the local community sees that you're taking a proactive approach in that sphere. But also, it's about making it personal. And that's what's worked well for me over the last, you know, many years on social media. I've got 20-something thousand followers, and a lot of that's got to do with not only the graphics and things that I put out there and funny videos of Paul Harris and whatever else, but it's about making it personal. You know, people feel they've got that connection with me. They see me, you know, regularly on their social media feed, so they feel they know me personally, even though we may not have actually ever met in real life. So For you though, it's people are interested in you, who you are. So talk about what you do in Rotary, whether you're playing a Rotary rapper or something, or whether I'm painting over graffiti or attending a peace conference. I'm making it personal. You know, I'm weaving my Rotary journey through what I do, and I'm putting that out there. So ultimately, I want you, like Uncle Sam would say, I want you to talk about you. Why are you in Rotary? What is your personal story? Show your pride on social media. You know, post a photograph up that you're proud to be Rotarian, or change your status on Facebook, or your Facebook profile picture, or whatever, you know. Show your pride. Now, I talk all about the great things about social media, websites, all that kind of stuff, but we also got to make sure we get our house in order as well. And so if you were driving past, and this is in my district, you were driving past and this is the sign. If this is what the sign looks like, what does the Rotary Club look like? So if you have assets out there in the local community, maybe it's a good time as incoming presidents, district governors, to look at what assets are out there and seeing whether they need to be updated. This is a club again in my district, the Rotary Club of Northbridge. This is their old sign behind the beautiful jacaranda tree, in front of it, sorry. And, you know, people drive past that, it doesn't catch their attention. But they spent some money and some time and they redid it. So they used the proper Rotary logos. But the most important thing is they put their website. So people driving past, okay, they meet at Northbridge Golf Club at Tuesday at 6, awesome. Well, there's the website, I'll check that out as well. So it's really important. Now, you can also, if you've got connections with your local government or community, to put some signs, hey, I'd like you to see something like this. Now, there's some signs, huh? If you've got a roundabout in your area or whatever, hey, let's do something like this. You know, really get that message out there. So quickly about branding and logos. So we all recognize this. It's the Big Mac, yeah? Iconic. Did you know Rotary's in more countries than McDonald's? That's an interesting fact. So the McDonald's, you might think, well, McDonald's haven't really changed much. You know, they still serve the Big Mac. Well, everyone knows the Golden Arches. Well, as you can see, from 1940 up to a few years ago, and even now, the 2021, the Rotary logo, the McDonald's logo has changed. You know, it's been adapted in some respects. It's gone through the history. And you might think, well, Rotary hasn't changed and the logo hasn't changed, blah, blah, blah. Well, as you can see, since 1905, the Rotary logo has changed, culminating there in the simplified logo, which I'm showing you at the bottom of the screen. But as you can see, the Rotary logo over the years has changed. It's changed. And the point I'm making here is that we as an organization need to change. So I still see, and I'm going to call these not the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 4 Rotary logos of the apocalypse. So you've got this is the bizarro version of our logo. So it kind of looks like the actual official logo, but someone decided they didn't like that, so they were going to go with this. Or we've got, you know, the old-fashioned throwback to the 1980s logo. Or we've got the Liberace logo, which I call it, the gold and the gaudy, you know. Or we've got the old standard, the dull, boring logo. So please, folks, please, I beg you, do not use these anymore. This is not Rotary's logo. If we all embrace the proper branding, which I'm just going to show you in a second before I do, this is me even pointing out to my friend Alexis that her tattoo does now not meet the branding guidelines. Of course, she told me exactly what I could do with my opinion about that, and it involved a rubber chicken. Anyway, so do a Banksy, you know, do a Banksy, shred the logo. So this is our logo. You've got the mark of excellence and you've got the master brand signature. Of course, with the master brand signature and your public image people in your district governors and the rest will tell you obviously to modify the master brand signature with your club name underneath it, all that other stuff. But for the exercise, this is our branding. Now you might say this is new. This is the new branding. Well, I've got a 10-year-old car that I'm trying to sell. on eBay and whatever else. And I'm thinking about putting in the description that it's a new car, even after 10 years. Well, of course it's not. So this is not new branding. This branding is 8 years old. This is the club's Rotary's logo. So you may have the assets out there in the community which might cost money to change or things like that. I get that. I appreciate that. Even, I mean, that argument's even a bit tenuous to make now after 8 years. But of course, if you have these, and I'll put them back here, these old logos on your social media pages or on your websites or any printed material, it's very easy for you now to be able to change it. And I get some of you might not like it. I get it. I totally understand it. But folks, that's just the way it is. That's life. There's lots of things we don't like, you know. So how can you help as club presidents, DGs, public image people, and everybody else? Well, you are the key to Rotary's public image. So in summary, tell your story. What's your personal story? What's your club story? Use the correct branding. Use social media to its extent. Think about spending some money on paid Facebook advertising as well. Quick, before I move on, something that I find incredibly useful are some useful websites, which I think you might find too. Now, of course, My Rotary and Rotary.org are awesome, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to try and figure out. But these are two very useful websites which I found. One is called the POA Photo Editor, POAP Photos. It's an alternative image editor for the Rotary People of Action campaign, and it has been signed off by Rotary, but it's a bit more user-friendly. The other one is called Rotary Blue. Rotary Blue is the one-stop shop for the logos, colors, fonts, and everything else. So if you design a lot of graphics or things like I do, and you're like, oh, geez, what's the hex code for the royal blue Rotary color that I want to use? Well, you go to Rotary Blue, and there it is. Instead of having to trawl through the PDF document of the branding guidelines, well, there's the color that I want to use, and it's important for us to kind of utilize the color palette that Rotary has put out so that we all kind of look professional and uniform, exactly like what I've done with my PowerPoint presentation here today. You'll see the colors are very they're obviously Rotary centric. So Rotary Blue, check it out. It's a great resource. A couple of tips before I finish up my presentation here. Tell your story with pictures, make them appealing. You know, don't overload your page. Post often, but not too much. So don't post 5 times a day. Create a social media strategy for your club. Use scheduling and post at the best times of the day. As I said, you know, the morning times work well, and you know, between 6 and 9, and in the evening. Be mindful of what you post. Okay, it's very important. Let's not go negative. Let's not have arguments. You know. Sometimes it can happen with Rotary. I do know from a personal thing many a time, and I have a little graphic that I put up. You know, I say this: don't get upset if you argue with some Rotarian from overseas or wherever, from your own club, whatever like that. You know, I say don't let Rotarians put you off Rotary. Don't let Rotarians put you off Rotary. So keep things positive. Always keep it positive and have fun. That's the main thing. Have fun. If we have fun, other people see us having fun, they want to get involved. So if you are on social media, which I hope you are, follow me on Facebook, my Rotarian Facebook page, Instagram, on Twitter, on Big Evan B 1981, and I'm on TikTok and Snapchat, and you name it, I'm on it. So, but if you just want to, or my website, evanburrell.com, follow me on social media. Now, my last slide is remembering, folks, we are the original social network. Rotary is the original social network. So I'm now coming up to time for questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Before you ask, I won't share my presentation. You know, just have to watch the video back again if you miss something. And I'll put it over to Mike or whoever is running the show to continue the presentation.
Well, I'm going to continue it with you, Evan. So keep your speaker on, yourself unmuted. So we can interact here a little bit. That'd be great. So if I wanted to directly get like the list of these social media tips that you just gave us, best place to go is to evanburrell.com. And or how would the best way for me get this kind of information, Evan?
You know what, yes, I think I actually haven't put those social media tips up on my Facebook, in my website, but what I might do after our call today is in the website of my the blog section of my website. Hang on, I don't know whether or not I'm still, if you can indulge me, I'll just do it for you because I've got screen access. Let me just quickly type in boom. Okay, and I will bring that back up and I'll share my screen. There we go, share. Okay, perfect. So my website, where we'll speaking. Okay, so in the blog section, I do love Paul Harris. What Paul Harris started it today. So, you can read some articles and things I've written, but what I might do, Mike, is in this section here on the blog section, I will put down the social media tips, but, that might be coming quite handy if you wanted to visit that and use it. Otherwise, the blog, I've written other articles, which, be aware of what you share, so predominantly about social media. All that kind of thing, how to improve your image and blah, 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 as well as if you're wanting to download some graphics and some other bits and pieces. These are the things that I've designed, which you might want to utilize on your own social media pages as well. So,
and all that stuff we can just grab off of there, right?
Look, this is the thing with me. So I wouldn't say mildly obsessed. I am very obsessed with Rotary, and I seem to have just found my niche and skill to do graphics, and everything that I do for the benefit of Rotary. No one pays me for anything like this. I might get a bit of money to speak and whatever else, but that's about it. So everything that I do, I put out there for the benefit of others, because what I ultimately want, Mike, is more people involved in Rotary.
Yep.
And if something that I've designed, say, for example, this little graphic up here, how I define my purpose, my passion, my sense of community, my local Rotary club, something that I've thought of, boom, I've made, but your club presidents or your DGs, you take that and you put that on your social media, Facebook page, and somebody in your community sees that and decides to reach out to you, then I have done my job. Something that I've created, you've used, and it's the end result is someone's being involved in Rotary. So go for it. You take whatever you feel you need to do for, acknowledge me if you feel you need to do for it, but everything I put out, it's there for the benefit of Rotarians.
All right. Super. Thank you so much. I know I've saved stuff off of the Facebook page into my photo section, graphics that you create, and then I post them back up
Awesome.
on our club website. So
I must admit, I didn't mention that in my presentation, but yes, if you are on Facebook, there is a Facebook group that I got, that myself and 4 other admins look after, Rotary Imagery and Graphics Ideas Hub. So it's predominantly a place for public image kind of ideas, for graphics, questions to be asked. It's for all levels and of novices to experts to be in this group. So, we've got about 8,000 or so members. So if you, for example, you might have a question about, I'm having an issue with club runner, such and such and such and such, you might put that in the group and sure enough, someone will answer it. Or you might be a case of, which is recent, someone's looking for graphic ideas to do for St. Patrick's Day. Has anybody created anything for St. Patrick's Day? Yes, of course, Evan has, but other people have as well. It's also a great place where people post things about, the different theme months. So this month is water sanitation. Right. So again, it's a great resource, and it's, I don't have the link on me, but Rotary Graphics and Ideas Hub, it's pretty easily found. Check it and join it, and be sure to answer the questions, and we'll admit you as members for that.
Super.
Oh, there we go. Alex has posted the link there in the chat box.
Oh, so. Cool. Nice. So a lot of this takes some level of organization. It just doesn't happen because you wish it. And a lot of us come from clubs that perhaps haven't paid a lot of attention to our public image efforts. So if I'm in a club where I'm just trying to organize this or get somebody to help me, because president shouldn't do it all. What would be some of the ways you might encourage our presidents here to begin this process of trying to develop a public image chair or committee?
Okay, so for a start, what I would do is I would work with it's all a group effort. I get people, individual clubs, but it's a group effort. So if you have regular cluster meetings or however you guys organize, local presidents speak to each other, perhaps think about your club presidents all coming together to do a campaign in your local community area. Put your resources together, perhaps reach out to some local people, local business community who might have experience in marketing or that sort of thing as well. It's a good way to sort of put the money where your mouth is and get some professional help too. But to bring it down a bit more to the club level, put the call out to people in your club. You never know who might have experience or expertise or even an interest in this area, to set up a simple, social media committee or public image committee. Follow the things that on the Rotary graphics group on Facebook or my Facebook page or whatever else. Utilize those for inspiration to build up a bit of collateral, so some things that you can put out there for social media and stuff like that. And then also do some of your own research. Certainly, I have got a few copies that I've given away, and also recommend the Dummies Guide to Facebook. Read the book and get, there's no, oh, well, I don't know about Facebook, I've got no idea. Well, there's plenty of resources for you to be able to understand it. But my thoughts is in regards to all this, Mike. People don't wake up in the morning. Perfect strangers do not wake up in the morning and decide, once their feet hit the floor, you know what, I'm going to join Rotary. Doesn't happen. But it would happen if they know about it. And so, which is why I say public image really, I feel, is the most important element of our organization. Because if nobody knows who we are or what we do, then why are they going to want to join? Why are they going to want to donate to our cause? Why do they want to help our foundation? Why would they want to send someone to, their daughter or son or whatever to RILA? So public image is incredibly important. We can no longer hide under a bushel anymore. We need to be at the forefront to tell people about who we are, what we do, and how you can get involved. Is it intrinsic? It's just marketing 101. We need to market our clubs and ourselves a lot better. And there are plenty of tools available out there for club presidents, and I am always very happy to help out as much as I can, and with the as little free time as I do have. But I'm always happy to help out anybody who wants to needs assistance in that spot.
Yeah, I know.
Also sorry, Mike, but also too, you have trained public image people in your districts as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm not. Please, I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the PI Jesus or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just a dude doing the thing that doesn't seem to do it well enough that people seem to think I do it well enough. But there's people go through the Rotary training, the BPI directors, and people are pretty knowledgeable. There's a multitude of stuff available on the My Rotary website that get the branding guidelines, all this kind of thing. It's just having an interest, doing your research, and seeing how strategic you want to go with it all.
Yeah. I'm thinking of our zone coordinators and stuff like that over here, who are always quite willing to help in any way possible. So I think you're right. We just often don't think of all those resources that are available to us out there. But thank you for making yourself available as well. As I'm thinking about this, our incoming president, we've had Shekhar Mehta with us our first night. And as you're probably fully aware, Evan, his big thing for a challenge out there for all of us is for each one bring one in this next year. Yeah. And I'm sensing that in a sense, our social media public image work is like softening the ground a bit. But it's really that if I'm going to bring one, I've got to initially start having a face-to-face with somebody at some point. And from your experience, is there any kind of, I know wearing a t-shirt can be helpful to sort of start a conversation, but are there ways that you've found that Rotarians can begin this conversation with others that could help us reach that goal that we're all trying to have this coming year of getting to 1.3, hopefully? Anything that comes to mind from you about how to start the conversation physically?
Boy, the way you're framing it, even that sounds like a dating question as well.
Well, what are you doing tonight, Evan? Later.
What are you doing tonight? Hey, you want to fancy a dinner? Take you to the local Panera Bread. I don't, look, it's just the human dynamic, really. It's just, look, if you're wearing a t-shirt like I am, is it the truth? Well, again, that kind of, you know, people can't help but ask. So you sort of weave in that conversation. But look, I know, you know, Holgar and a lot of other past IRA presidents, and I've been on a number of committees and other bits and pieces, and everybody's all, you know, singing from the same hymn sheet here. That you know, bring a friend, bring someone along. But I do want to mention, though, quickly, we don't want to fall into the trap, though. And maybe I need to do a slide on this, but I talk about it sort of the McDonald's analogy. So you saw the image that I had of the Big Mac and how awesome and big that Big Mac looked. So in some respects, we kind of create a rod for our own backs when we talk about the amazing stuff we do. We're ending polio, we're doing this, we're doing that, all this other awesome stuff, boom, 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 boom. But the introduction that someone has to that is just a club meeting, eating Rotary rubber chicken and listening to a speaker that you know, that they don't need to take an Ambien, they just have to come to the Rotary Club and they're out like a light. So so that's the McDonald's analogy. What we're selling, the Big Mac here, is what we're delivering is the Big Mac that we all get. Oh, geez, look at that. Oh my God. So there's that disparity somewhere. So we've got to kind of come up with a little equilibrium. So when we're telling people about our club, let's just lower the expectations just a smidge and say, look, this is what we do. This is where we meet here, we're here. But look, we're able to achieve this. We're able to do this. We're able to do that. But this is how we just sort of do the delivery of it. And so the other thing, and this is more for DGs rather than club presidents, I would say I'm in Australia's first Rotary Coffee Club. We meet only twice a month on a Sunday afternoon for coffee, and it's a very family-focused club. So new clubs are a good way of introducing new people into Rotary, and I talk about the buffet menu of Rotary. So instead of just having the meat and potatoes and vegetables as what we always had, the chicken, we're doing the buffet. So I like a little bit of this, I like a little bit of that. Okay, well, satellite clubs, passport clubs, e-clubs, coffee clubs, clubs that meet at a bar, clubs for young professionals. You know, it's all very varied. It's not following the same kind of pattern that we always have. And perhaps this might be something that club presidents might want to think about, is if your club is sort of struggling in some respects, perhaps think about ways of totally changing on how you do your club, and think about merging or morphing into something a little bit more new and dynamic. You know, I mean, if whatever works for you works, keep doing it. But if you're having some issues, perhaps think about how you can sort of maybe partner in with another club in your area that might also not be doing so well, and how you sort of refocus and rebrand and re-put yourself out there as a new type of club and change up what you're doing. These are just ideas to think about anyway.
Yeah. Well, speaking of presidents getting together, we're about ready in a few minutes to head into our breakout sessions. That seems like one thing that might be on the table to talk about for sure. But as they get ready to go, is there something, you know, from your perspective that you think might be a good opening, something for those presidents to talk about when they first get in those rooms in a few minutes? What would you ask them to share with each other or talk about when they're in that group?
Okay, so what I want to talk, they can all talk about, is perhaps share the experiences of when you first met somebody that you maybe fell in love with, and how can you translate that into getting a prospective new club member?
All right.
But just before everybody goes, I really want to say something just real quickly. I might, and I'm pretty sure I'll get asked by club presidents. I don't have a huge amount of time to do Zoom club meetings anymore. I certainly am, available for like district conferences, and if some of you want to fly me over there when all this pandemic is over, I'm much better in person than I am on screen. I wear my Rotary suit, but yeah, like I'm sort of not doing too many individual club Zoom meetings. I just don't have the time for that. But if clubs get together and they get a large people like this, or if you've got district conferences that may be virtual, or maybe public image events or something like that, hit me up, and we can certainly talk about that. So yeah.
All right. Well, Evan, I want to thank you for taking time to connect with us from halfway around the world. I think it's almost lunchtime there in Australia, pushing 11, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, you can hear my stomach grumbling, can you?
Yeah, there you go. But you've been challenging us in this last hour to really step up and improve our game when it comes to public image, and then sharing pointedly our Rotary stories. As a token of our appreciation for you being with us tonight, we're going to be sending you a gift box of maple products that come from Quebec, as well as the 7 states covered by our districts. And we really hope you'll enjoy them. Maple is what's happening.
Is Vermont and New Hampshire represented here? And,
absolutely.
I've been to 32 states in America, most of it to do with Rotary, and I was supposed to go to Ohio for a conference last year, and Hawaii and all that, but I've never been to the Northeast. So I've never been to Vermont or where was that Super Troopers made? Is that Vermont? Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, that section, invite me. I'd love to visit. I love maple, and I love the forests and everything else like that. So yeah.
Well, everybody from that part of the world is on this call, and we'll try to see if we can make it happen. Let's everybody give Evan a big thank you, and the jazz hands wave off. We really appreciate you being with us, Evan. Have a great day in Australia, and keep up the great work on behalf of Rotary. Really appreciate it.